We are back to finish the rest of the question paper. We were dealing with 8.5, which is what we have here. Then when we look at 8.5, the mark allocation here is 3 marks here. Then how are we going to distribute that 3 marks? Let me distribute that 3 marks. It's a 4 here. Sorry, let us rectify that. We have a 4. Then how are we going to distribute that 3 marks? 1 mark will be the correct value of I and the correct value of n, meaning that when you have 0,08 divided by 4 as well as 4 multiplied by 9, you will be awarded 1 mark for both of them. If one is incorrect, therefore we can't award any mark. Then the second mark, it will be 1 mark for correct substitution into a correct formula. Now, why am I saying correct substitution into the correct formula? Under finance growth and decay, if you choose the wrong formula, then we are going to give you 0 mark. We can't check what has been written below that formula. If the formula is incorrect, it's a 0 mark. Then 1 mark for the final answer, which is 101,994,37 cents. Then that is your distribution of your 3 marks there. I hope we are okay in this regard, comrades. Then let us clear some space so that we are able to indulge 8.6. I hope everyone is fine in this regard. Then we are going to clear some space here to make sure that everything is clear. Now let us indulge 8.6. Right. In technical mathematics, you must know that the last question under finance growth and decay, it is always a timeline question. What is a timeline? A timeline is whereby we represent the information in a timeline form. First, before we answer the question, we must represent everything that has been stated on the statement on a timeline. In essence, it gives us an idea as to what happened on a particular year. Therefore, that it gives us that idea to say, on this year, this is what happened. Then we have an overview of what really transpired as far as the statement is concerned. Now, I want to highlight very important prescripts of the timeline. It can happen that the last question, it is not a timeline. Then, comrades, students, and learners, how do you tell that this type of question, it is a timeline question? Prescript number 1. The timeline question, it has 2 or more interest rates. It means the interest rate for this particular number of years, it is this much. Then after this number of years, it changes. The moment it changes, it says now we are having more than 1 interest rate. In that regard, we are having a timeline question. You must represent your statement on the timeline. Prescript number 2 is that there is a further deposit. Investment took place. Then after a certain number of years, there is a further deposit on the same investment. That is a timeline question. Prescript number 3. On a particular number of years, there is a withdrawal of a certain amount on the same investment. Then those are the 3 fundamental prescripts that alludes to you that the particular question is a timeline question. Now, let us read 8.6. You must read the entire question to see if it is a timeline or not. 1. What constitutes it to be a timeline? 2 or more interest rates. There is a word changes. 2. There must be a further deposit. 3. There must be a withdrawal after a certain number of what? Of years. Now, 8.6, it says Mrs. B also invest an amount of 10,000 rand into a savings account for a period of 5 years at Bank Y for house renovations. Now we understand there that the main objective of this investment is that Mrs. B, at the end of the investment, she wants to do house renovations. Perfect. Then they say further to say, for the first 2 years, the interest rate will be 8.1% compounded semi-annually. Then we go on to say, the interest rate then changes. Now there is a keyword. It changed from 8.1 to 7.8% per annum compounded monthly. Now we see that there is prescript number 1. There is a change in interest rate. Therefore, this question, it requires us to do what is called a timeline. Now, we are not going to read further as to what is that is required of ourselves. We are going to represent the information given to us on a timeline. Let us go and have our timeline. Here it's our timeline. Now, the first thing that you need to indicate on the timeline is the number of years for this particular investment. Now, from the first line here, we understand that there will be an investment of 10,000 rand into a savings account that will last for a period of 5 years. We know that this investment, it will take 5 years. Then at the beginning of the investment, we indicate T0. What is T0? It is the initial, it is at the beginning of the investment. Now we understand that this investment, it will take 5 years. Then we are going to have T5 at the end. Now, after indicating T0 all the way to T5, now you come to the amounts that are there in the statement. Now, we have read this statement clearly. The only amount that will be invested is this amount. There is no other amount that was further deposit or taken out of this investment. Therefore, the only amount that was invested initially is an amount of 10,000 rand. That 10,000 rand, it will be indicated at the beginning of the investment. In this case, it will be indicated at T0, 10,000 rand. Now, without 10,000 rand, there is no other amount that has been indicated there. Then after the amount, you go straight to the interest rates. You must indicate the interest rate after the amounts. Then it says for the first 2 years. Now, after T0, the interest rate, it lasted for 2 years. That's why it says here, for the first 2 years. Then after T0, we must go and indicate here T2. Why are we indicating T2? Because the first interest rate, it lasted for 2 years. Then from T0 to T2, we must indicate our interest rate. The interest rate, it was 8%, 8.1%. Per annum compounded semi-annual. Semi-annually. Then it says the interest rate then changes, meaning that after 2 years to the rest of the investment, the interest rate changes. Then from T2 all the way to T5, the interest rate changed. It changed to 7.8% per annum compounded monthly. Right. Then this is our nice timeline that we have there. Meaning everything that was said here, we have indicated that on the timeline. There is nothing that is missing that was said on the statement. Now, let's come to the question. The question says here, her budget for the entire renovation, for her to renovate, she needs an amount of 13,500 rands. Now, it says how much will she have left after paying for renovations? You must understand, we cannot know how much will Miss B have after paying for renovation without knowing how much was she having after a period of 5 years. In a nutshell, we want to find out the accumulated amount that Mrs. B will have after a period of 5 years. Then from that amount that Mrs. B is going to receive after a period of 5 years, we are going to take out the money that is needed for renovation. What is left there? It will be an amount that is left after paying for renovation. Now, here, remember, we must look for the keyword. Our keyword here, it is the word compounded. When you see the word compounded, it says we must use the compound interest formula. That says A is equal to P in bracket 1 plus I close bracket all to power of what? Of n. That is the compounding period formula. From there, remember, what are we looking for? We are looking for accumulated for Mrs. B after a period of 5 years. Now remember, what is P? The P, it is the principal amount. This is an amount that Mrs. B have now, and that amount she wants to invest. Now we understand that Mrs. B has an amount of 10,000 rand. That constitutes that it's a value of of P. Then where we see P, we are going to write our 10,000 rands. Then open bracket 1 plus. Because here we have the compounding period that lasted for 2 years. Remember, we take the first interest rate and the number of years it takes for that interest rate to change. Therefore, this one, it took 2 years before it changes. Now we have the compounding period here, which is semi-annual. Then the first thing that we need to do is to divide 8,1 by 100% first before we divide by the compounding period. Then that will give us 0,081. Divide. Then semi-annually, it says per 6 months. Then how many 6 months do we have in a year? We have 2 6 months. 2 6 months in a year. Then how many 6 months do we have in 2 years? Why am I saying 2 years? This interest rate 8,1, it took 2 years before it changes. Then how do we get that? We are going to say how many semi-annual do we have in a year? 2. Then we are going to multiply it with the number of years before it changes. In this case, is 2 years. Now, since we have 2 interest rate, it means we are going to have what? 2 brackets for interest rates. Please let us clear some space here so that we are able to finish the entire question. Then, since while we have another interest rate here, we are going to just open another bracket. Two interest rates means two bracket. Then we are going to repeat the same thing to say 1 plus. What is the second interest rate? Here it is. We are having a compounding period. Then first we are going to divide that by 100%. That is the first rule. 7,8 divided by 100, it gives us 0,078. Then divide by the number of months that we have in a year. We have 12 months in a year. Close bracket. Then from T2 to T5, how many months are left here? We know we have T3, we have T4, we have T5. It means we are left with 3 years. Then how many months are there in 3 years? Then we know in a year we have 12 months. Then multiply by the number of years that are remaining there. In this case, it will be 3 years remaining. Then we are going to substitute the entire thing that we see here in our calculator. That is going to give us the accumulated amount for Mrs. B. Then let us use our calculator to press that. Divide by 2. All to power of 2 multiplied by 2, which is 4. 1 plus 0,078 divided by 12. All to power of 36, which is 12 multiplied by 3, 36. Then accumulated amount for Mrs. B, it will be equal to 14,800 rands, comma 0.9 cents. That is the total amount that Mrs. B will receive at the end of 5-year period. Now the question was saying to us, how much money will she have left after paying 13,500 rand? Then from this accumulated amount, we are going to take out what is needed for renovation. In this case, it will be 13,500 rands. Then this will give us how much money will she have left after paying for renovation. Then Mrs. B will be left with 1,300,09 cents. That is that. That is that. Mark allocation there, it will be 6 marks there. Perfect. Perfect. Then the entire question paper was out of 15 marks there. Then that is the end of this particular question paper, which is from Free State 2024, and it was written by grade 11 learners. Thank you so much.